And it doesn't have to be all of them. There could be 9 things that you're out of whack with, and 1 thing that you are really in alignment with, and you could have a sensational relationship with your ability to focus upon that 1 out of 10 things. Isn't that good to know? So it's really time for everyone to stop blaming someone else for you not getting what you want, because really all it is sloppy thinking. Oh, because you're standing in front of me and I can see you and hear you and smell you and taste you and touch you, I'm going to seek mutuality with you rather than with my true desire. That doesn't make very much sense in this light, does it? So we know that you get, conceptually it makes sense. We know you understand the laws. You know enough about your inner being, but let's talk about it in very practical terms. So you found this place and you are both excited about it. So you're mutual in your desire for it, would you say?
Yes.
So each of you are mutual with your inner beings. Each of you are mutual with each other. In other words, there's a true compatibility, a vibrational equivalency, a true compatibility about this subject. But when it comes to how fast it's going to manifest, or whether the thoughts give you a thrill or a disappointment when you think about them, that's when you vary a little bit. So give us an example of something that your partner might say that when you hear it and focus there brings you toward his different vibration and away from your inner being's knowing about this. Is this a helpful analogy for you? Give us an example of that.
When he says, you know, I don't know how we can get $4 million in the next 2 weeks before somebody else buys it.
So he makes a really good point, doesn't he?
I don't think so. Like, it's as easy to create a castle as a button. Like, the universe has an infinite number of ways to bring this to us.
Well, we don't agree with this point, but what we're saying is there is logic based upon what he has observed in life. There is logic in that. What does hearing that from him, what feeling does it cause within you? And we're going to ask that in a different way. Does it produce a feeling of satisfaction or a feeling of dissatisfaction?
Dissatisfaction.
All right, so a feeling of dissatisfaction, but do you know the dissatisfaction isn't because of what he believes. The dissatisfaction is because you joined him in that thought and you left
there's a lot of momentum in that thought, so it's really easy to activate.
Well, there's momentum all over the planet in that thought, but that really does not matter very much, does it? If you have decided at our encouragement to be someone who is, for the most part, really looking for satisfying thoughts, then are you capable of finding a more satisfying thought? Jerry used to talk about the fireplace. The spark comes off the log, gets on his sweater, and he flicks it off right away. No problem. But if he doesn't, then it burns a hole in his sweater. The dissatisfying thought, if you just brush it off and move to a more satisfying thought. So do you think you're capable of finding a more satisfying thought than the unsatisfying thought that he has presented to you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what is it?
Maybe it's not as easy as I thought.
Well, you just told us I've seen it before, but here's the thing. If you go too hardcore with him and try to convince him that he's wrong and you're right because you've had experience about it, he's just going to get stronger and there's no satisfaction in an argument whatsoever, is there? Try to make this about changing the feeling of a little discouragement to something that's more satisfying, such as, well, you never know. All kinds of things can happen. The universe is really on our side. Our inner being's all over this. Cooperative components are being gathered. Thoughts are turning to things. Maybe not this red hot minute, it's not ready to pop, but it will pop. And doesn't it feel good to think like that? Doesn't it feel good to think about being there or somewhere like that in good time? Are any of these thoughts satisfying?
Oh yeah, very much so.
And so if that's true, and we can feel that it is, if those thoughts are satisfying to you, then what that means is the thought is enough for right now. And you're not crippling it, you're not killing it, you're not working against it, you're not starting momentum that works against it. You're encouraging it to continue to unfold by looking for a positive aspect about it. You could change the subject altogether, but we know how you all are. When you get hold of an idea and you want it to come about, you work against yourself without even knowing you're doing it, because you try to push things into being before there's a vibrational alignment. And the more of you who are working together on it, the more potential for pulling against each other you really are. Two things that we really want you to hear from us. See yourself in partnership with this person, but see yourself more in partnership with your inner being and universal forces, and then make a choice every single time. Which partner is bringing more leverage right now to the table? And every single time the answer is the partner that gives me a satisfying feeling rather than a dissatisfying feeling. And so once you start aligning in that way more and more, what will happen is you'll have fewer conversations, because the only things that come together are mutual. Hear this. So mutual relative to the kinds of foods you like to eat, mutual regarding the part of the world you want to live in. Come with us on this thought. Someone who feels vulnerable is mutual with a bully. Not talking about you guys, just making a point. Someone who is worried about money is mutual with a real estate agent that isn't focused. Someone who is jealous about where others live is mutual with bad timing. This mutuality is not just on the positive end of the emotional scale, it's on the negative end of the emotional scale too. Whether you realize it or not, you've found a lot of mutuality. You said it to us. It's sort of easy to feel that way these days. There's quite a bit of momentum going on like that. But you don't have to be mutual with those thoughts. Most of the world right now does not believe that they are individually invincible. Most people really believe that they need a father figure, a government figure, a God figure, a big brother figure, some kind of figure to support them. Most people, that's the vibration that they've got going on, even though their inner being knows for sure that's not true, and they lose their mutuality with their inner being every time they think those thoughts, and they feel crummy in the process of it. You are invincible. You can be or do or have anything that you want. And the more moments in time during a day that you look for mutuality with your inner being, which is what the feeling of satisfaction is, satisfaction and more, then the more stable you stand, and the more it becomes completely irrelevant. Now we'll talk about this. Completely irrelevant to you how anybody else feels about anything, because you are no longer looking to find mutuality with them in order to be understood by them. Do you really want to be understood by somebody who doesn't believe in prosperity? We're not talking about you guys. Do you really want to be understood by someone who believes in deprivation and hardship? Do you really want to be mutual with that thought? And yet so much of your world and so much as what is being presented to you is showing hardship, hardship, hardship. Your news goes out into the world, finds the most troubling things, brings them right into your living room, dramatizes them with music, and you get a pit in your stomach about it, because you, for the time of your focus upon it, are losing your mutuality with your invincibility while you're trying to understand someone who's vibrating at a whole place that you don't want to vibrate. Does that make sense? So you have the good fortune of having people up close to you all day, every day, people that you really care about, who have different opinions about different things, and many of the opinions that they've picked up along their physical trail are flawed premises that are not serving them very well. You said it so well. I guess I'm really not a vibrational match to what I want, or we will be living there now. Well, yeah, you would be living there now. Or you could say, I'm in the process of being a vibrational match to that. These thoughts are turning to things, and I'm coming along the way of it and having a really good time watching the universe reflect back to me what I am a match to. Whew, it's so much fun. Is this helpful?
Yes, very much so. I knew that when you called on me that I knew when I came here you would call on me and I'd get the clarity that I needed to kind of work out the little kinks in my vibration and really come into better alignment with all of my desires.
Really
so,
good.
Yeah, thank
Good
you so much.
conversation. Good for everyone.